Because I have a scary case or story to tell to. Oh, wait, should I tell you guys?
Yes, we want to know that.
And then not tell it.
Okay.
Here at Hmong Insights, we are committed to providing knowledge and fresh information from our viewpoint to empower the Hmong community to form their own perspective on their culture. We recognize the existing negativities surrounding our culture and aim to transform the environment. Our podcast seeks to clarify misconceptions and offer valuable insights for the younger generation, while also working to preserve our cultural heritage. We recognize that certain topics may be sensitive, so we kindly ask everyone to remain open-minded, as our goal is to promote positivity and understanding.
Hi, Nyajong. Welcome to Hmong Insights. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Susan.
Hi, I'm Jen.
Hi, I'm Pania. Glad to be back.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. We have a very interesting topic today, and a lot of people are very curious.
Including me.
All of us.
And so today we're going to talk about how spirits, ghosts, and so forth, how they can attach themselves to living beings or to humans, like to us. So first and foremost, for someone to be completely healthy, there's basically three pillars, okay? Or more, okay? So the first one is the mind, the body, and the spirit. So for you to be completely healthy and a strong person, all three pillars have to be healthy and strong. So sometimes, where we're spiritually weak, so that means that we're more visible to spirits. So that's how spirits attach themselves to us. And also probably the spirits are going through what we're going through, whether it's loneliness, yearning for a partner or so that because they see themselves in us, they actually attach themselves to us. And this isn't good because it can cause physical pain and other things that we go through. So let's get right into it.
Yeah, I'm so super excited for this episode. It's finally here. And you explained a little bit about how spirits attach themselves to you and why. But can you go into a little bit more in depth about when you don't have your three pillars strong and why would they want to attach themselves to you?
Okay, yeah, sure. So you have to be mentally, physically, and spiritually strong. So let's say, and this happens to all of us. So, and it doesn't always have to be like a divorce or a death in the family. It doesn't have to be something like so tragic like that. Sometimes it can be like, let's say you got into a car accident and your car is totally wrecked and and it's your favorite car, your ultimate car that you've been saving up for. And then all of a sudden you feel depressed and down and lonely and everything's crashing down on you and then right, and you start beating yourself up. So mentally you're no longer strong, and then once one pillar goes down, like the mental part, and then now you're spiritually, because probably the accident was really harmful to you physically. And then now that you're more weak, right? Yeah. Mentally, spiritually, and also physically, let's say you're walking, in a park one day or probably, down the alley or just whatever. And probably another spirit sees that, oh, this person lost everything or something of theirs. And that happened to me too. Because when I was alive, let's say I lost my home, I lost my wife, I lost my car. And then because all of a sudden they feel what you feel, and then you interest them, and then there's that similarity, and then now they're like, okay, well, kind of like, let's be best friends or something, right? Even though you're totally unaware of this, then that's how the spirit kind of follows you, and then eventually when they get, I don't want to say addicted, but when they get like really comfortable with you, like just like a friend, and then that's how they attach themselves to you.
But what is the benefit of them attaching themselves to you? Do they get like the things that you're doing every day, like then they get to eat that too? Or what is it? Why do they do that?
Sometimes, it depends on which type of like ghost or spirit they are. But for example, it's because they're no longer alone. lonely.
Oh, I see.
So then attached to you're like a friend. But let's say a hungry ghost, because there's like in this world, there's been so many famines and like, that people died of starvation, and all countries have experienced this. So we call them hungry ghosts because they just passed away due to starvation or so. So let's say you go to a restaurant somewhere and you're extremely full, and that person's like, that spirit's like, oh my gosh, like I want to be really full.
Yeah.
Or you can be like, I'm so hungry, and I wish my mom was here. She's like 1,000 miles. And then let's say the hungry ghost is like, hey, I feel that way. I can't find my mom. I'm hungry too. Let's follow her or him. And like, are they going to go somewhere and eat?
Yeah.
And then they'll attach themselves to you. And then also like, and then also like, it's almost like, oh, okay, everything all the time, and they order you more, just things like that. So it just depends on which ghost. And so the benefit for, let's say, a hungry ghost, then that is, for the fulfillment of food.
Okay.
So it depends on which type, and it depends on what type of feeling that down the field and the attached ghost. So what is it that they're looking for?
Oh.
Okay, so it's different per ghost.
Are those that will affect like your life force or your energy and things like
Absolutely, absolutely. Because remember, you have to be spiritually weak. So let's say attached to but because if you're happy, go lucky, nothing. So if you're too happy, right? And misery loves company, right? And so if you're too happy and you're mentally strong, and also that they may not necessarily want to attach themselves to you. So it's more like go to kind of low enough for them to like, okay, that's kind of like me. I see that in me. Like you have to kind of click with them, right?
Oh, so if you're not spiritually weak, then they won't attach themselves.
Yes. So if you're not spiritually weak, then it will be a lot harder for them to attach to you.
But they still can.
Yes, they can. So if you're everything's strong and even spiritually strong, then that means that of two things. Number one, they're probably related to you because your ancestors or someone who's related to that has disease can still linger around or attach to or ask for help. Okay. Then number two, probably you're kind of gifted if you're mentally, physically, and spiritually strong, and they're attached to you or they're following you around. It means they want help or just want to talk to you. But besides those two, normal people, that it means that they're related to you or so.
And when you say gifted, you're not talking about you're an elite scholar, right? You're talking about morning and stuff like that.
Spiritually sensitive, and you're gifted, and you can feel spirits and have a sixth sense, and you can feel the other world. That's what I mean when I say you're gifted.
So can anyone chow, like, for example, little children or other ethnicities?
Oh, yes. People talk about it all the time, and it doesn't matter what race or what religion they come from, and they would come and, seek help from me. So I know this for a fact, that this isn't just happening to Hmong or anything. And, but I find it that they have to be a tad older, like 5, 6, 7, or much older, and it's not as common for Mia Yao to Donia. But is it possible? Absolutely. And if they're younger than 1, then I wouldn't consider that as like Dona. I would actually consider that more as like because they're still seeing spirits. So I would consider that more as they're seeing spirits, and not necessarily that the spirit's like, oh, this cute little baby, I'm gonna haunt or taunt him. Like, it's not like that.
Yeah. Let me ask it a different way. Can the spirits that attach them can be other ethnicities?
Absolutely. It doesn't matter. And some types of ghosts or spirits, nuchimo, a certain type of like ethnicity, right? It can just be like a being that you can't tell.
That's crazy.
Should we stop now, ladies?
No, it's getting fun. Oh, that's creepy. And can the person that Jauna, can they do anything about it?
What do you mean?
Like, if they know or they're feeling something and that they're not normal, what can they do to like get rid of it or get past that?
Okay, so if you're feeling some sort of anything and you know that it's not normal, whether it's dreams, whether you're feeling like someone's watching you, always following you in the showers, like whatever it is, always seek help. And, whether from a spiritual leader, whatever your religion is, whoever you're comfortable with, and then seek help. So consultation, and then you take it from there. Because it's really hard because you have to kind of like diagnose this, like what kind of spirit first, and then you'll know how to deal with it because there are different types of spirits, so you don't deal with it the same way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what are some symptoms to know that you have an attachment?
Yeah.
So symptoms would be, well, like you just feel paranoid, dreams of them trying to take you. You feel very lethargic. You want to commit suicide. You don't want to live anymore. You start seeing things at the corner of your eyes. You feel their presence, sleep paralysis, right? So there's a lot of symptoms out there, and it depends on which type of spirit, and I can go on and on and on.
Yeah. And like in our past conversations and stuff, you say like, Hmong, and like don't feel lonely, right?
Yeah.
And so like
no emotions.
Yeah. And then like if you're a girl and you Hmong and you're longing for someone or like love, the spirit attaches you, right? And they're men. But can there be a case where a woman spirit attaches to a woman human?
So yes, that's possible. But in those, no buts. But in that situation, then they're looking at you more as a friend. But let's say like, or early at Yosemite or like whatever, right? And then spirits attach them. Then normally it's the opposite sex and opposite gender, and they want to take them in as like a lundo or like, so they want to court and they want to like date you and like have a relationship. So that kind of relationship, like, you'll dream about being intimate with somebody, and sometimes they'll choose people that such as your spouse or so, and so they go right, and things like that. Or sometimes women would tell me that they would dream about spirits like violently, and aggressively like do things. So then it just depends on how aggressive the spirit is and what type it is.
And the motivation for them to come, well, obviously because you're Shane, right? And then so they come to you, but is the eventual end plan is that they would take you as their spouse?
So yes, it's just like dating also. So or court and they like you, then ultimately it's like, yeah, they're gonna make you die so that they'll take you to the other world and be their spouse. But just like courting, they're like, I don't really like Pina, right? And then so they
Don't
may
like
just
me.
yes, please don't stay away from everybody.
I don't like it either.
Then eventually they probably will leave by themselves. But in our culture, we don't want to wait or risk it because we don't know. So yeah, they come out of the what if like or it doesn't matter what you are, right? So in our culture, as soon as we find out, we don't wait until the end. Like, are they going to take them or not? Like, we don't wait. We just or separate it right away.
I have a question.
Yes.
So like, Benya asked about the symptoms, right? But that's for you yourself to like kind of like, oh, I don't feel normal. But can my family members, is there symptoms for them to look out for?
Yes. So, especially if your parents, if you like like they're your children, your parents, and you see them. And as parents, we'll see like change in attitude. They'll tell you like I have really odd dreams or nightmares, or they're just acting like really scared, or go to they'll always be with lights out, but now she wants it on 24 hours, or like she won't be by herself anymore, but she used to play with her teddy bears by herself. Certain things like that would be red flag. And again, if you don't know it's safe for it to be, to get a consultation or a reading, and make sure that there's nothing wrong, then, your child's going through this for 10 years and then, oh man, we should have found out earlier.
Yeah. Because it could become too late, right?
Yes, and it can become very serious. Where at first it's just something spiritual, but then eventually it can become physical. Also.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, how do I? Because I'm not there yet, thank God. But like, my kids, right? They're still growing up. How do I distinguish? Okay, they're just going through their adolescent years and they're having these outbursts. But how do I distinguish that between what Zhao and they're just going through life?
Yeah, so that's why it's very common practice at the end of the beginning of the year, right? So kind of like, spiritually strengthen the whole family, and they will catch it, right?
Oh, I see.
So you don't have to guess.
Okay.
So every year it's normal to have a fixer me upper every year, or like going to get towards the end of the year, and and we invite our close friends and family to offerings for a and then we protect them the whole year. During events like that, they'll definitely catch it also. So there's plenty of events that you can go to that they'll catch it for you.
Okay.
And going back to like symptoms, you mentioned that sleep paralysis may be one of the symptoms, right? When is it not? Like when is sleep paralysis something else?
Okay, so remember, as humans, we're mind, body, spirit. So sometimes, like, let's say you're an athlete and play ball all day long, you're extremely tired, and you fall asleep, and it's like it's like spirit out of body. It's like, man, am I awake or am I not? Okay, and then you close. Okay, sometimes that just like physically means that you're tired, but your mind is awake, right? But sometimes. But how you can tell the difference is the difference between sleep paralysis involving a spirit versus just like a normal one where it's really just due to you physically being tired, is that a sleep paralysis due to a spirit like sometimes you'll see like a being like at the door or rushing you, trying to choke you, and then you can't move. So you have to see. And it doesn't always have to be extreme like that. Sometimes you don't even see them. But, I have clients where they would tell me like they feel like fingernails like on their neck, or sometimes they'll feel like it's like they like cover their nose and their mouth. So that's definitely caused by a spirit. But you're just kind of like, then that's just more physical and not as much as being attached by a spirit and they're purposely causing you to experience sleep paralysis. So it's very different.
And may I ask, why do they do that? Like, are they trying to take you to the other world, or are they just messing with you, or what is the point?
So it depends on what type of diet it is to your spirit, right? Mm-hmm. So, we have hungry ghosts, which hungry ghosts don't really do that to you. They just want food. But, dare I say the D word, like demons, muto, other spirits or ghosts that probably died tragically, and probably some of them do try to take you and kill you so that you can be with them. That sees you as like, their spouse or partner or boyfriend or girlfriend, then they're trying to sleep with you, be intimate with you, and also try to take you to their world. And then just like kind of tricksters and mischievous, que les ataca. So it just depends on which type they are and what kind of relationship they have with you. So it's very different. So I can't have one answer that will fit every type.
I see. So is there like a common spirit that attaches themselves to human, or is it all kinds? Because you were explaining many different kinds of spirits, right?
Yeah, so and it just depends on what like a certain ethnicity or a certain type of persons. They go to places a lot, right? So for Hmong Lorangi, we like to go hunting, fishing, and near bodies of waters a lot. So a lot more cases that deals with Hmong Lorangi. It's definitely the water spirits. I find it that I'm in Hmong church also, but then I had a client and she's Caucasian, and so her sister referred her to me, and so long story short, knew abused by her stepfather, and so so she kind of felt abandoned. The church, and then so a spirit attached from at the church because they felt that to scream really loud, and then in her left ear, after that, and just look very dirty and and then after that, she started using drugs because she couldn't get it out of her head. And so obviously that spirit attached to her because both of them, were longing for that father figure and also their mom both abandoning them. And then obviously that spirit, she was killed by her boyfriend also, right? That we're talking about, same thing. Her ex-boyfriend was very abusive also. So it's almost like the same story. And other than that, she loves to wear red dresses also, right?
God.
So it's just
so uncanny.
right?
Yeah.
Like down there, right? So okay, like where did it happen? So I got her clean. I got her to because I acknowledged that it was true and that was happening, and because everybody else that she was meeting, they're just like, it's in your head, she lost her job and everything because everybody was just like, you're making it up. It's just in your head, and it's at a sacred place. Like, why would that happen there? But it's because bei humans là tinh linh đạo hong ghost là yin tinh linh đạo thế kì có một pray at hong place like of course the morning so and this is her story so when the long story short that's and she's normal now. She's normal. She has a couple of kids now.
She doesn't hear and see.
No, she doesn't hear anything. She doesn't see anything now. The new feel. After that happened, walk near or sometimes a feel like this person feeling or she can feel the spirits, how their emotions. But she can control that, and she doesn't hear voices, and she doesn't hear the lady in red right. So I mean she have been mostly right. I have proof and more clients so it just depends. So because majority of your clients that's not most of my cases. Most of your cases water spirits.
When you say water spirits, thank you for explaining that or telling that story. Because when you say water spirit, I automatically think dragons.
Yes. But besides dragon, have you heard of them?
No.
What is that? What is
Yeah.
Okay, so learn. Okay, that's another vocabulary. So spirits that they're at riverbanks. Okay, so and they're kind of like amphibians, like kind of and they can shapeshift. So let's say they look like a frog, but they can, look like that you love in your favorite drama, right? So they can do that. And usually like the water spirits or like no lo nyo na pajena, so let's say la lu lake or a river then it's a dry talo that they can still be on that rock. So let's say go la no rock, or let's say you kick the rock, I don't know, whatever, or you take it home, goodness, don't take it home. And then that's how they can attach themselves to you. So so majority of the time, actually I can't think of a time that they don't act this way, but majority of the time they want to court you, and majority of the time, lo ying, the opposite sex trying to take you in as their boyfriend or girlfriend, and so lo ying sa court got and then you'll dream a lot of you'll have a lot of dreams of like rondo, taco, and if you're a guy, you'll have like girls trying to come date you, talk to you, flirt with you, and things like that. Or got be got be, just some of the really common symptoms are that. So even though you're single and you don't even know who you're yearning for, so that's someone that would do joshua. And so there's two types of joshua actually. So the normal type is joshua, but the more aggressive type we actually call them chomboa. Okay, so a
Can you say that again?
chomboa, boa pig.
Boa. Boa.
So topic with the chomboa right before they're gonna and mainly sleep paralysis in our culture. Mainly sleep paralysis is caused by the chochono. If I had to guess, it would be a chochua rather than like a ghost or whatever. Okay, because they're more tricksters, and it's like so it's almost like it's tricky. So that's why household guardians are supposed to screen and block. That's not going right, but they can be attached to you. So when you come home, your household guardians just or they can kind of see them. Okay, wait, they're not necessarily fall to like a spirit. So then because you have like bone spirit, bone gray area alone, the household guardians doesn't touch or can't really protect, because household guardians are completely on the spirit side, right? So back to you, chombo. So we call them chombo, and they're a lot more aggressive. And your chombo right before little chuoko and cause the sleep paralysis, or right before little taco or try to be intimate and go with them, they actually squeal really loud. And if you're not asleep yet, you'll just hear like a really loud ring. But you're like, try to like And so these type is a tad harder because they are a lot more aggressive, and they don't listen. They're a little bit more tame. They're not as aggressive as the chombo.
So how rare is it that itu person do chombo, and why when you say it was hard, why is it hard, or what do you mean by that?
Okay, so it's not rare, like you don't ever see it, but let's say in 10 cases, maybe, 1 or 2, all the others are more like, regular and they're not as aggressive. So when I say hard, it's harder to like, or separate, because the chombo, they're very like, obsessive and like very aggressive and low, or they would block the person that they're attached to, that you really have to work your way to pull the person out. And then because they're so aggressive, now the person, the spirit is really afraid behind the So then there's just a lot of layers that you have to deal with. And that's not true. Sometimes, all the time. So sometimes you have to do spirit, or like the dinning of the spirit, it's okay, but it's just that you have to be very careful so that you can take their spirit back.
Are there other ways that people chow water spirits?
Yes, you mean besides 和母海个切身说红狗
And kicking the rock.
Oh, okay. Yes, there are. Especially for 比较不年的药. So like sometimes, and I hope all the ladies are listening. Sometimes we're on our menstrual period, and people don't know this, or some people do know, but they don't care. They're on their menstrual period, and they actually go and swim in a lake, swim in a pool, go fishing, or things like that. So once Gohonchanda like goes into the lake or the body of water, whatever spirit in there has a taste of your blood now. So like you're just like, Kokoshian, you go seeing and a spirit attached to you. It's not as hard of a case or really hard for us to separate the spirit or kodak from kona as much as you have to go and then let's say now the dragon or like no to chochuna or no to it's really hard to go because you because right it's like go it comes back and comes back. That's not true to all cases, but it's just because they have that against you now, So if you're on your period, please do not go swimming in any body of water, including a pool.
Oh, really? A pool? Oh.
And if you're on your menstrual period, why are you in a pool?
No, because you have aerobics class.
Oh.
Water aerobics.
Oh, okay. I see what you're...
Or you're on a swimming team or
Sorry.
swimming activities.
SORRY.
Oh, dang.
But there's no like permanent solution to that?
You don't go.
Well, I mean, after you already got it. Did that, so you're just stuck with it.
You mean after the spirit attaches
Yeah.
you? Remember, and then after that you go see your spiritual leader, or in
Yes.
our culture a shaman, and then 干嘛给干嘛晒呀，给干嘛晒晒都叫装的你no你的气有气，and it depends on the shaman and like 技能就那么过都过。
Oh.
So that's the
So
solution.
you can still hold them.
Yes, you can still go, but again, remember when I say the case is hard, it means the Zining has to be very skillful. So you have to let you skillful. Okay, you might have to go to 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 shamans before they can do it for you now. So, just keep that in mind. Don't put yourself in that predicament.
So for ladies then, is it only when we're on our menstrual period that we're supposed to avoid all bodies of water?
No, when you're pregnant also. So that's why I tell girl pregnant, and it doesn't matter how many months. You can be 2 weeks, like 9个包是那样. So that's why it's very common. Basically, like an elder or so, okay, or don't go to any bodies of water. Because you have to go pregnant alone, like let's say go to Joshua or dragons or whatever, like they can actually or go miscarriage and go bona, go to bone. So that's why basically pregnant ladies go to any body of waters, whether it's a lake, river, creek, whatever, because I have a scary case or story to tell too. Wait, should I tell you guys?
Yes,
we want to know
say that and then not tell it.
Okay, fine. For you ladies and for you audience out there, fine. So I had this case, and this was a very long time ago. So she's a very young mother, and so this is only her second child, and her in-laws were like young, and you have the in-laws lower mother, but like, okay, don't do this, don't do that. But her in-laws were like, oh, you have the next someone who cares? So and don't call me, I don't recall how big or how many months she was, but 这种因like cheaply 了真的哦，因其实很活宝诶，一all month 了你假是那样。So anyways, long story short, she went fishing with her, husband. So the new moplaki, and she was telling me that because she's all of a sudden started hearing like someone like whistling at the shore. And so she's like, what's that? And also, her husband was like, okay, let's just go home because, recently, like a couple months ago, one of his buddies, almost had a miscarriage because his wife was pregnant also, but they were able to save that.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the couple I'm talking about. So, and she kept on hearing things. So he's like, okay, come on, blah, he didn't really believe the whistling, but he's like, okay, come on, blah, so let's just go back. Long story short, she came home, she had a miscarriage on the bed, blood everywhere, and they took her to the hospital, and I felt so bad for her because the whole night, and so and so and she didn't even want to look at me or tell me what happened because she was so scared. And I said, I don't know how to help you if you don't tell me what happened. So she told me the story and so get this ladies, go muna tanam, so to me bong lo na, jolly lente mo, luto ho jong lo, no lo and then manakamon jod. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So then the doctors thought like she got into an accident. So she's like, no, but the doctors like, no, I think got to mall like or like what happened. So till this day she's like very afraid about it, and she almost didn't even want to have any more kids because after that too. So long story short, but this lady she was spiritually sick and weak, and then her mom, her biological mom, she was sick. So so then on good morning the spirit attached to so then the spirit attached wasn't necessarily a water spirit, it was more like a zomra. So like it's one of the tricksters, and it was like a ghost where it died horrifically, and so then so long story long, that's what happens. So freaky things does happen. So if you're pregnant, please, for the safety of your child and yourself, do not go out to hajong or like any sort of body water or anything like that.
Wow, that's really scary. But on our next topic, it's scary, but I think a lot of people want to know this. Dragons, are they hard to deal with?
I've been trying to avoid this. Okay. Dragons, yes, because the other spirits, like they can kind of shapeshift or things like that. Dragons, and it depends on the levels too, right? Type of dragons and how strong they are, how skillful they are. But dragons, they're very skillful, so they're just not like using brute force against you. It's like they're tricksters. They can lie to you. They can overpower you. So like that's a whole nother ball game. So dragon cases are very hard to deal with, and I personally know some shamans that will not take cases that involves dragons.
So I've known you for so long, and I know you probably have dragon cases, right? Can you share a story or two?
Should I?
Always.
Yeah, so 我那阵地个机那叫我头上有因过多了要，so they're not as common as JoJo, but they do happen. They really do happen. So I've had several cases, but let me use one of this case as an example. And with Jean, okay, with Joanna, okay, what are you call Shia, la yin toto you move here. The Shima, Joanna, order you like more soup, but with zha, okay, they can actually go you and make you like physically sick. So a case that I had was I had this lady, her mom brought her in, and she's never had any blood disorder or anything like that. But the past 3 or 4 years, whenever she was on her menstrual period, she would for weeks, like 2-3 weeks, and in Chapinta. So she would actually need a transfusion. After, she was so afraid and scared to and then so not only that, she was, having haunting, scary dreams, and her mom saw a total difference in her behavior. And so her husband and her mother was extremely worried about her. And after but I wasn't aware that at that time, but it didn't work. So then as the years passed, she started developing this blood disorder also, right? So, I saw that it was dragon, so just dragging on, and every single time that she did get pregnant with her husband, the dragon was jealous or envious. So what he would do is no blood, more miscarriage. So as soon as more miscarriage, so that already happened a couple of times as we were talking, and then. So and funny thing is this actually happens for males and females. So and basically it means that and then very bloated so then she was
like you were actually pregnant.
Yeah. So because I thought she was pregnant. Yeah, and so and it's scary. Blancha happens to guys too. My cases go guys but then that's what it is.
But you don't you're a different person, right? But can shamans actually see the dragons in there or no?
So I don't know about other shamans because everybody's capabilities and skill set is very different. This Shima, like certain types, especially I would actually see a bunch of little dragons like swimming around.
Oh my god!
In the stomach. So that's like with the ball for sure. And it's just not like she's bloated or like whatever like that. Yeah. So and it's not just one of them; it's like a lot of them too. Yeah. So and obviously there's not that many in there. So some of my clients don't. Of course, all this information is leaked out today, but you hide your clients because you don't want to China. But because you're going to be infertile. You can't have your own kids now because that's taking up space. Yeah. So with she was better she doesn't need a transfusion anymore. And then so last time I heard she was able to conceive 3 children now, so she's doing good now.
Oh wow. Even though you had too.
It wasn't just one girl. I don't know how many Blancha she had.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
When they come to you with can you help them take care of that, like the babies, I guess?
It depends on how severe the case is and what type of case it is. So if it's not as serious and like you but and there's like 8-10 of them in there. They're about to escape them. I would rather that she just endures it and escape than I'll just block it from there. So it just depends on the situation. Obviously you can protect it, but it's really hard because I could try to block that can be her life. It's like not allowing her to give birth, right? So that's the dilemma that I'm in when they come. So, and there's many ways to deal with that, and that will be another episode.
And you know what's very interesting about what you just said? You said men and women can have blanc. Yeah. The men, obviously, it's the lady dragon that's doing it, right?
Or we hope.
Oh.
I don't know. And is it possible? I don't know, because I've never met a guy that another guy dragon. So just because that has never happened, I can't say 1,000% sure that that's not possible. But the ones that it is a lady dragon. Muto tu guy. Or the guy to lady dragon. The guy say boy. I would just see lesser though, like probably 1 or 2 or 3. But normally but it's the girls that they come and I'm like, wow, like you have 8, wow, you have 12, right? So again, there are different species, right? And they're magical beings. So you ladies are comparing them to humans, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, that's all we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because other animals do. So it's not,
Yeah, you're right.
So with spirit attachment, what if you do know about it, but you don't do anything about it? Will they just go away?
No. They got you or anything go all of the symptoms, right? And for example, this lady that we spoke about, you want a transfusion every single time you're on your I mean, why do you want to live like that, right? So of course the obvious answer is, go Paula, please get it fixed. You don't have to live life this way, right? So they go feel something, or go guess, or go to Paula, do something about it to fix it. Because if not, in the beginning it might just be like paranoia, or you chai, or you boshuosu, but once it becomes they take your life, right? Okay, they might leave you. But what if they don't? And then you'll pass away to this being that they may or may not even love you. Right? So, and this is a misconception too. Some people think that, your royalty, sometimes he doesn't even like you that much. And sometimes right? And you may just become his slave forever and not necessarily too, right? So don't fantasize and don't don't live in this la dream. And because I know all of us watch the Chinese dramas, right? It's like, oh, it's so magical, fairy loves devil, like all that stuff, right? No, that is called fiction. That is called someone made up the story, wrote up a fantasy. In real life, you will pass away. Royal and because in more rules and regulations in the other world, okay? So try to take on there's just like the rebels, the thugs, right? So don't even fantasize and dream for 1 second that that's the life that you want. You're fooled. And or of course, listen to heart, take a mind. What type of guys so they're tricksters, and probably so do not think that it's like this lovey-dovey story. It's not. And it's a serious matter, and I hope that big audience that's listening to it will tell their girls and other people, not just the girls, but their boys too, and everybody. I go, that's something that there's songs written about this, there's movies, Hmong, other races too. It's not a fantasy. Don't movies real. In real life, it's not the same thing.
So for dragons, are there like classes or ranks in the dragon world?
Yes. So yung more ranks, yung more class, yung more your royalty, your what go your thugs, your rebels, your wandering spirits. That's knuckle that's about to become dragons. As much though your dragons they can just be lizards. They can things like that. So the shima majority of the time you have to lay your royalty now. They're not coming for you.
Because you said there's laws and stuff, right? Typically, the ones that are higher ranking or royalty, they abide by the laws, right?
Right. Just think about Shonegnon, right?
Yeah.
Or just like, the monarchy in like, Britain or British, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's very strict. And then your royalty game, no, uphold your traditions, take your rules, take your gain on up, your rebels, take your like your thugs only that don't care.
Yeah.
Take your right? That because everybody knows that you're not supposed to mess with them and they're not supposed to mess or court or try to marry us. It's a big no. There's
And
a
they
law.
probably want to stick to their own class, right?
Absolutely.
Why would they
The
come get
royalty.
one of the humans?
Come and find a
I
peasant.
know.
Right, because you're like, oh, like, so they know the formalities, and why would like really think about it, like even in real life, like it's not the same.
Yeah.
So for y'all who do break the laws and stuff, like what are some of the consequences, if you can share?
Well, when they find out,
Okay.
okay. So like in the spirit world, ying mo your didn't ga ying mo your teacher, your land guardians, ying mo your ga ying like ying only base them we have cops, police, lawyers, so do they. So you right? You get away with it, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as you get caught, then that's when you serve your sentence or the consequences and things like that. So this likewise. So the other world, okay, it's the land guardians or Gatichu that we talk to that protects their citizens and then also us too. So and however it is. So let's say they're a spirit or a ghost, they died in an accident and they're a lost spirit and they didn't know. Okay, well that's a different story, right? But they're a weird form. Okay, well because you've been that way for hundreds of years. So you can't be saying that right? So it just depends on which type Luzi, Yanita, and what it is. So, but there are definitely consequences, yes. Always.
So we can conclude that if a dragon comes to you pretending they are a prince and you go with them, that it's not a luxury. It's actually just rebels and thugs and thieves that are trying to take you.
And sometimes people think they're dragons. They're not even dragons.
Oh.
It's just like a wandering snake spirit.
Oh.
And then so they're like, oh, this person loves dragons. Let me just pop out some manes now. And yeah, so like, because I've had some ladies, they're young girls, and they're like, yeah, with Dojai, and I'm so in love with him. And I was like, he's not a dragon.
That's so creepy.
Right? Yeah, and like, so and then so her mom told me and said, hey, like, go to for y'all, but so I went to her and I said, hey, like, but why did he come back? Like, what happened? And then so she cried and she told me a story that she missed being in his arms. Yes, this girl watches Chinese drama all the time. And so she was like, oh, but she's shallow because every night go home and I feel so loved because he's a dragon prince. And go there. So I was gonna separate her or go again, but and then so her mom being soft says that and I said, are
What?
you two nuts?
Oh my god.
So anyways, this is what I decided to do. I was like, I'm gonna tell him to show you the real him,
Oh. No,
the
thank
one
you.
that I see, and you'll see it tonight. And he is not a dragon prince, and I am for sure that you will not want to be with him because because of all the fantasy, right, movies and sayings. So, anyways,
Oh, so he did go.
he did go. And then so trying to nas and she's like she's just like huge and nas the geo it was and then on the like a log and hot or whatever, like she was telling me her dream, right? So then try it hold up because she only like she had the impression that he had like 2-3 wives already, right?
Oh.
And then so I was just like, okay, so did you want me to help you again or not? And so it was a really rude awakening for her, and I kind of lectured her and did scold her a little bit that it's life and death, people. So all the fantasy stuff, stop it right now. I can't emphasize that enough. Where it breaks my heart and it gets me really upset. And some people they're willing to go for a like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? You have to live out your life. You can't do that.
Do you know of people who have passed away due to dragons?
Yes. I'm going to talk about one of my early cases. So by the time I met this girl, and so spiritual things, physical attempt. And it's so weird. She was in the hospital, and and the doctors would be like, "Oh, you have skin cancer. Okay, well, it's better now. We believe it's liver cancer now. Demo autopsy. Oh no, it suddenly disappeared now. Oh no, we think the cancer is all over your lungs now. Okay, we don't know. Probably it's the herbal medicine that you're taking, but it all disappeared now. So when you encounter a situation like that, that's not normal.
Yeah, where it's jumping around, right?
And within days. It's not like, it's like within days. Like, so the doctors didn't really know what was going on with her, so they're thinking like, oh, probably it's just in her head. No, even one of her doctors like, oh, probably he feels like she needs more spiritual health. Because no, it's really like, start on something, get something else, and then he just feels like, so he just feels like it's more spiritual health and not necessarily doctors, like, because we still bought a case like that before. So then they so they sent her home, but then she got sick again, so they were sent her to the hospital again. So when I met her, and by the time of Toroku, she had tubes everywhere. She couldn't talk, she couldn't eat, she was being fed by a tube, and even before the tubes, Ying showed on a whiteboard, and that's how she communicated with the doctors and with her parents. And there was a lot of drama in her family life also. And so for new manito, right, so the pink chopping like the okay, well, she may need transfusion now. Okay, well, we don't know what's going on. So it's just like so much that it's like, come on, no, the doctor and nurse, like I just get confused. Like we get a and like the nurse completely different from the doctor. The doctor another doctor. It's just like, okay, like even I'm confused, so. She was in ICU, you like candles or whatever, and then she felt better, with the tools because she was able to eat and she was okay. And then so she was able to walk now. Because before that, 你手炸死哦，你手指刀你听哦，yeah. So then she was able to walk. So no, 你对上了了，结果还是来的hey你都才呢，你只要like more physically, you're spiritual. Because how is it that going doesn't it say you show like
Yeah.
like this looks so fake,
Yeah.
right? And so how spiritual component was. So please and at that time I was very young. And so, when you hang out there, there's only and then so I was telling them like, I think, let her rest and it's no more like, it's all and like no more stuff and, no more, get healthy. So the doctor's like, okay, at this rate, for sure, 5 to 7 days, they'll let her go home because she's been begging to go home because she's been in the hospital for a while.
Yeah.
And so the doctor had that go. So I was like, oh, okay, 5, 6 days. Okay, 5, 7 days. That's fine. That sounds good. So this show don't long and then so no okay la okay, well, we don't know for sure. So they went and I don't know what they did because obviously I wasn't there. But how shy and others so like so many people came and so many people did so many stuff to her, and I'm pretty sure it was contradicting and and then and she's never had seizures before. So and this is like probably the third or fourth day. She was like thanking me and she's like, I can't wait, and she's like, she really wants to take me out to lunch and let's have a conversation, right? So on the third she had a seizure.
Oh shoot.
She had a seizure and and then and she lives about 2-3 hours away from me. So and then so in other words, they did something to the white rhinoceros and it has fallen down. So I said, what? Like, what does that mean? And it's all code language, right? So then, I don't have any clients that's a very serious case right now. What's going on? And then I thought about her. And then so I called her mom. And I was like, please, what did you guys do to her? And then so she finally told me like I was against it, but her dad allowed them to, and not only that, her dad got like so many people like of various faiths and things like that. And then they came and everybody did so much stuff that more seizures and stuff like that. And then anyways, she passed away a day after.
Oh my God.
So sad.
But I think I feel like I understand where the dad is coming from because right? So he's probably thinking, I'm gonna do everything that I can to help her, right? So in everything like another shaman or everything go down, right?
I understand that, but it's been 7 years.
Oh.
So it's not like this is new and he wants to like everything, right? And so
he just started to do everything when she got better.
After she got better.
Oh.
So after they met and all the tubes started taking out, that was when he decided to go all out.
Oh.
And so and I can't blame him, and I understand where he's coming from too. And I'm just telling the story here. But she was one of the first one that passed away. So I was very distraught because I was so sure that she was saved.
Yeah.
I was so sure that she was saved. So, those were one of my earlier cases that I took to heart. And it took me, a couple of years to fully get over it, work what you want, and more work what you think about. And being a shaman, well, guess what? I can still see her and talk to her. So, it was really hard for me with that case. Yeah.
That's so sad, and I feel so bad for her family. Yeah. So, just out of curiosity, though, did she eventually turn into a dragon herself?
Yes, after he passed away, she was really sweet. And she wished that we met on, different circumstances. And she's really appreciative that I tried to help her. And she was definitely a dragon now.
Is that the like the same truth for all the dragon cases where they turn into dragons?
No, chỉ chính là dragon thế tụi dragon nhưng yo chủ nó nhẹ có tiền thế mỗi có plea or ra nó because sometimes there are cases where lo yo su or lo nhẹ có chỉ and then como onanga and the person is still a person and lo mo to I don't know to hôn giờ or case they did not turn into a dragon.
Oh, so all that courtship in the front where the dragon comes is the main reason is for them to take that person to become their slave or their helper.
So usually, yin yo had the courtship, go more on yo nenda, yo zinda, whatever. You like usually yin yo nenda, the shima, it's at their own accord.
Oh.
Right? So just because you have the right to not marry them. Just because they have all the power in the world over you now. So and with that much power, and it's okay, they're going to be true to you or like expect to be their number one. That's not true. You don't even know their background. You don't even know where they live. You don't even know if they already have 10 wives. You don't even know. Right? You know nothing about Lana. Unless go to we're like, oh girl, like like the little girl that I was telling you guys about, right? And so you don't even know anything about them. So don't always assume sometimes
Yeah, don't tempt your fate. Yeah.
So what about cases where a person has passed for a very long time due to, I don't know, whatever, water spirits or any kind of spirits attached to them, can they still come and longkong their family?
Yes. So for some of you who don't know, it means like to bother or to ask your family for help. So you had the relative, ancestor, whatnot. Let's say you had a grandpa. Well, this is actually one of the stories, but this grandpa passed away before I was born, actually, or like very young. But I just remember it was like way before me, and so he's an avid swimmer. And so, no, especially weekdays, and like you suspect that something is weird with him, like. But how he passed on was, and he does his like laps, like back and forth, and then so one day, he just never showed up on. And then so his wife told me that need to do like show like to gasp for air. But no one was like they couldn't find him and he just never showed up. So of course they called for help and eventually they found him like way further down. But other people more so, and like that, but like they would always dream about him. They would dream about him in water, and he would say like, oh, just things like that. Or so and then I took that case, but that was like, and way before I was born. So then they will not rest until they get what they needed or want because he died wrongfully. So for that case, like tried to want to plead or job, but he didn't want to. So like he started to have a tell. He was so against it, and that so then he was so against it, so he don't really want to. So but yeah, I took that case 結果no 我能夠把了大給了全部所保了資了。
Oh, so he can eventually go and reincarnate.
Yes, you can, go and reincarnate. So, long gone, yeah,
Usually, then he would have just been stuck, huh?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Họ cho cho là mua là quay xe lỡ nó kì là có chỉ là long công their family or they don't ask for help anymore, but because he was adamant that he should tell Shannon, so it's been so long, but you chẳng mua tao chỉ you chẳng pin long công like for all those years.
Wow. Well, going a little back to spirit attachments, we know that they can harm you and make you feel all sorts of stuff. But what about your spouses or your partners? Like, do your spirit attachments affect them too?
Yes, they can. It just depends on how aggressive they are. The spirits that attach to you know. So I have this case. I'm talking about cases all day long. Is that okay?
Yes, interesting.
We want more.
I mean, I've been doing this for almost 17 years, right? Going on 17 years.
This
so.
is, when we have our normal conversations,
Yes.
this is what we want to hear.
Yeah, so a case to illustrate this is there's this young guy, close to 30, and so and so I was talking to him, and I said, "Hey, did you know that you need to do something about it?" And so his family was really worried because some knew, but some didn't, and they knew that he was sleepwalking.
Oh.
So I said, I mean, did you always sleepwalk? And we were talking. So he's like, no, it's just the past 3 years, and it's really funny though because when I sleepwalk and I wake up, I'm always near a body of water.
Oh.
So
he sleepwalks out of his house?
Off his bed, outside of his house,
God,
and
so creepy.
down the street. And so his girlfriend at the time, wife now, but girlfriend at the time, said, yeah. And then she tried to wake him up one time and she tried to want to call, want to stop. He just like days and walking because there's a creek that's walking distance to their apartment.
Oh.
So then wake up, no talking the no knew the boyfriend at the time. Because her grandma passed away. So she was like, telling grandma, so he woke up and he just said, why'd you take me here? And then but she was crying.
Yeah.
And it was happening almost every other day now. But by the time that, I happened to meet them. And so I was just like, did you tell your mom? And of course, and then she was like, right? So he's okay now. They're fine now. But the harming the spouse, they have past life, relationship also. And so was so aggressive that every night now, girlfriend at the time, had to go there would feel would slither between them, and they got so they didn't try. And then so sometimes Nonu would tell her boyfriend go walk right, right?
Oh yeah.
It's because they slither along. Then the the creases in
Oh
them.
my God.
So they didn't try, and she says that he's a heavy sleeper, so she normally sleeps after him, and so. And then all of a sudden, she started getting red marks. But just her arms. And so she thought it was is it an allergic reaction to food? Or so she went to the doctors, and the doctors gave her some, cream, just put it on there, you'll be fine. But then one day her husband was like, did you see all this stuff on your back? So she was like, oh, what? Do I have a pimple somewhere? He's like, no, where did you get all those marks, right? And then so Numa Shainaha, it's almost like you don't thought, but you thought him, but all around her back and right here. So she was so scared, and then Numa feel mom, but it was just overnight that happened. So Numa because they weren't married yet. So she went back to her side, and then so Lama, when called her Lama, she got better, but then she would get sick other ways, or she would have haunting nightmares where someone and it's just stuff like that. So in China, all the guy know it go to lo ta go to
I know, right?
I know.
And then she's like,
No more sleepovers, man.
Love her so much. Oh my gosh.
yeah. So no go to please go check blow like that, right? And so Tonen kota ke he's okay to Nichi sleepwalk like. So they're fine, they're good now. Go to ta. To them they feel like it's a like it happened last lifetime ago or whatever, it's been such a long time.
Well, also they probably don't want to think about it.
Oh yeah, it was really scary.
Traumatic.
Till this day, the guy no longer camps, by the way.
That's
Oh,
good.
so
He doesn't
Good
go
job.
Yeah.
no fishing and he doesn't camp anymore, which is good for him. So yes, the answer is depends on how aggressive they are, but they can harm your partner.
So you said something very interesting. You said that they had past lifetime relationships. Can you tell me what that means?
Okay, so it means like or like because we believe that we're souls that after we live here on earth and learned our life lessons, we pass on, we reincarnate, and then we become the human hopefully, or we reincarnate and become something else, right? So for the case that I just spoke about, like past lifetimes that they were humans, they were actually Hmong. So I know it sounds so cliche and fantasy too, but because they were actually no, he passed away in a war. So then and then back then in their culture, you pass away, you just can't marry. So
What culture is this? May I ask?
I'm not sure because thousands of years ago, like certain countries aren't even that
Sure.
type of countries anymore.
Yeah.
But when they're dark, only K or India, that type. But do I know that Pakistan or India or Bangladesh? Like, I don't know.
Okay.
But the type of people is only hot type. So no because she didn't want to spend the rest of her life being alone.
Yeah.
So it's almost like she became a widow.
So she found him again this lifetime.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. So
okay.
then she wanted to marry him and she wanted to live out her life with him. Yeah.
Well, you also mentioned that you help like for them, but did that always help in those cases?
With more serious or harder cases, you have to be very patient. Why is the spirit so attached now? There's always a reason. You can't just be like, aggressive. No, that's not normal. You have some sort of love story. Heck, I don't know, probably new more. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But you have to be.
There's some history there.
Yeah, there's some history. Exactly.
Yeah.
There for them to be this aggressive and this like So does it always work? Sometimes it doesn't, especially like the little girl that I was telling you guys about where she was like 12, 13 at that time. And I mean, well, yeah, it didn't work because she kept on calling him back, right? Just things like that. So and it depends, but usually you have to meet her at the right time when it's not like too much into it, or it's not too, I don't want to use the word too late, but should I? Where it's not too deep into it. Okay, usually it works. And also, you have to go dining, like for example, and we don't go fishing anymore for 3 months and then the next day going fishing. Okay, well, you kind of mess up, right? But if you follow it down to a T, then usually it should be okay.
And how do you do that? Like, especially when they have history, and you go and try to do you have to take them to like the spirit courts or whatever? How do you do that?
So it depends on the severity of the case, but sometimes it's so severe that I do have to take them to court. And I actually have to argue my case in front of, but in front of, kind of like jurors, right?
Yeah.
In there, jurors are like all judges. They're not like
okay.
normal people. So like it's like a high court, and I do have to take them to court and argue my case and say this was thousands of years ago. Like she can't be doing this anymore. So it depends on the severity of the case. But yes, sometimes I do have to take them to court.
So with all these type of attachments, like how can you protect yourself from these periods?
Like you as a regular person. So how you can protect yourself is, remember the three pillars, right? The mind, the body, the spirit. So if, spiritually and mentally and physically you're strong, okay, it's really hard for a spirit to attach to you, even if they have history. If you're happy and you're like, no, that's not gonna happen. I love my wife. So it didn't happen in the past. So I'm gonna forgive and forget and move on and just be the best that I can be this lifetime. That can ward off certain spirits that probably have issues with you, or not issues, but a history with you, and not attached because they see that you're too happy. And on the other hand, it can be like, okay, you're too happy. We have a history. You killed me. I'm going to attach to myself too. But you especially weak, okay, it doesn't affect you that much because you're spiritually strong and the three pillars are strong. So I would advise that to be mentally, physically, and spiritually strong. Then overall you should be good.
Well, what about physical things? Are there physical things that you can do or have to protect yourself?
Oh, yes. Depending on the culture and the spiritual leader that you go to, you go to church, they might give you a cross. Go to Hosha, they might give you like an amulet, so it depends on who that you go to. So definitely they can give you things like, basically like dahoti, right? Wishi strings, that they use bamboo to draw the hotong. So these are things that can help guard and protect you, but be warned, these are temporary things, okay? So they're good to for 10 years. I don't think that is going to help you because they're already with you for a very long time. But, having those is great so that you don't get newcomers, right? And overall does protect the home. So, but, ultimately, my best advice is to seek help, consultation, and then take it from there. And sometimes they're not always hard. Sometimes they get such easy cases where they call me and they're like, oh, and then they're like, oh, they're gone. I'm good now. Right? And then so I'll check and I was like, oh yeah, he did disappear. You don't need anything. Like you're done. Right? So we're talking about, because we love the scary, heavy cases, right? But sometimes it's that easy. Right? So and be blessed, right?
They're just testing you.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, okay, well, okay, fine, bye, right? In more cases, again, in our culture, we don't like to risk it. So, but sometimes, just send them a string and they're good already.
You said something that not triggered, but like made me think. You said newcomers, right? Can multiple spirits attach to one human?
Yes.
Oh,
Those
you
are
can.
the very extremely hard cases. Either it's all right, but sometimes gunji, certain ladies I think the most that gunji was blow.
Oh my gosh.
And needless to say, she was very sick. And luckily, two of them weren't that strong because one of them was too strong. But yeah, it made her, it made her like really sick. It made her, she don't look at all. She was a total wreck. So yes, it's possible to have more than one spirit attached to you. Because she was always very depressed and down, and so then like it just kept on piling on.
And may I ask, and if you can answer it, if all four of them attached to her, like what is it? Like, does she go with one, or all four of them take a little piece of her, or what is that?
The strongest one wins. Like really you should name your betan because the top blochi to londolo ultimately to being a channel or to gabe or to being a check we just go with that one.
Oh, I see.
We don't like marry all four.
So I know you, going back, you also mentioned like the types of physical protection, like dahuatsi. What is that?
So it's actually this shrub or small tree that in our culture that we use, and I think the English term is like sumac. So the first Hmong shaman, he was going around and taking care of not taking care, but eliminating spirits and bad spirits, evil spirits, and things like that. And so he was going around on that up, but it's been so many years that Nuda's sword actually rusts. It was really rusty, and then it broke in half. So Jenna was like, "Oh my God, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna deal with this?" So nu bought John Dong Hotina, and so nu more cut no Sean the deck, more see John Dong the all like daggers and knife, thought down right. So till this day, by mountain she no John Da Hotina or law like Johnny Bonsong law or like all these spirits called in China. So John Da Hotiki. They go more around go, I have so many nieces and relatives that I thought you on the corner, right? And then they're like, yeah, been more camping na, right? So nothing happened to me, but everybody else macho, and they're all afraid. So really does work. Okay.
So where can people find such items? Can they come to you, or what do you offer?
Yeah, so some people learn more online, New Year, things like that too. But I do carry them also. But we live in California, so it's not as common in California.
Oh wow.
And I'm a shaman, so being more powerful. Kotsi alone will take care. Like if you talk about it percentage wise, and I'm using percentage wise so that people understand. I'm not saying that it is like this. Okay, so this is only for explaining purposes. So Kotsi by itself, let's say it works up to 30%, but it just add that much more 60, 70% or even 80 percent that new protect on them. So, and we've tested it out before actually too, where directly your work until you experience it.
How many do you need to have?
Just one. One should be good.
Oh,
like
if I have 10, is that more powerful than one?
Yeah.
I guess it depends. But usually one is sufficient and okay. Some people have more because los sacho ita in their purse, one in the car. I mean, just things like that, right? Just in case are you but usually one or two is okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I had so much fun talking about all of these cases and hearing your stories and stuff.
I hope I didn't scare too many people.
You scared me, so a little part of it.
Don't be scared. Come back for more episodes.
But, we could go on and on and on forever, right? And I love hearing all your cases. But ultimately, how do you protect yourself from water spirits or just spirits in general?
Yeah, so if everybody forgot everything, there are really 2 points that I really want people to remember. And number one is that spirits are actually more afraid of us than we are of them. And we don't know that, but they do. So what happens is, like, if someone's more afraid of you, what do? Like, they have to, use more scare tactics on you, right? So now that be mentally strong, and some China, so that they won't attach themselves to you. Because you go chin chai and you're like, chin chai, boy, household guardians, protect so chin chai and nothing will happen to him, and you have to fully believe that, then usually you attach to God. Okay, so that's number one. But number two, every now and then do like a spiritual ritual, like whether onenkoche or mo Shayai than Dela, you should know I don't, and speaking of Shayai, like, you shouldn't Shayai like every month or every week, okay?
Or every day.
Yes, like that's just too often. But you know what most people do is like, so fix the whole, everybody in your family that lives with you, once, to get ready for the new year. So, to make sure that you're spiritually strong. And if you're not, it's a name will, single out like, okay, you guys are fine, but the not needs it. And I find it that if you do that every year, no, a lot of nang, so again, mentally strong, be brave, you're fine, you're protected. And also every now and then do to be spiritually strong, a name performance to fix the family, everybody so that and if there's something wrong, they'll catch it. And so ultimately, it goes right back to the mind, body, spirit. If you're mentally, physically, and spiritually strong, it will be really hard for a spirit to attach you. So just, be healthy, keep at it, and you'll be fine. So shalom, everybody, and hopefully nobody bumping over, this episode. So name shalom. Okay.
But thank you so much for sharing.
Yes,
it was a
thank
lot
you.
today, but I think it's definitely helpful and informational, and I think a lot of people need to know about everything we talked about today.
Yeah, for sure. I think we learned a lot
Yeah,
too
I did.
today. Yeah.
Did you guys?
Yes, I learned something new.
Because I haven't heard about the boa.
Oh, the chomboa.
Yeah,
Boa.
Chomboa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like your loyal ball, but the younger people don't really know
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
So
Well, I had fun. So hopefully you all learned a lot, our audience. And I'm really glad you guys, took away things from it too.
yes, for
It
sure.
was fun.
See you guys
Thank
next
you.
time.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for listening to our podcast today. We hope that you have gained some insights that have changed your perspective and positively influenced you for the future. Be sure to check out our social media and follow, share, and subscribe. We also want to hear your thoughts, so please go to our Facebook or Instagram page and ask questions or post comments on there. And as always,
Be kind and go make the world a better place.